Hey, it's Miss Alana and welcome to this episode of today's Healthy Food Adventure with Miss Alana. Do you want to see what I have? Bam! Check it out. Guess what I have in my bowl? Spaghetti and meatballs. Oh no, this is not spaghetti and meatballs. It is linguine with meatless meatballs. That's right. Let me tell you more about it. So, let me tell you a story. Last night on the way home, I was like, what are we going to eat for dinner? Well, it was getting kind of late, and what can I cook that would not take so much time and that could be quick and easy? Let's do some pasta. All right, so went to the store and hold on, let me tell you. Usually I will make my own homemade tomato sauce, but this time I'm like, you know what? Let's just get it out the jar. So I was at the store. First thing, let's pick out some noodles. So when you go in the pasta section at the store, now, did you know you can even make homemade pasta? Now, homemade pasta, that's good too. Now, if you are in a time crunch, you could just get one out of the box. They have different kinds. They have different shapes. So they have like the spaghetti noodles, the vermicelli noodles, and the angel hair noodles, which are the same shape, but each of them are a little bit thinner than the other. Then you have like macaroni noodles, that's a different shape. They have like the shells. What else? Shapes. All kinds of shapes. They have all kinds of shapes. Now, I got the linguine, which is like it's flat, okay? So it's like thick and flat. I was trying to think of the other one that's thick and flat. I can't think about it. I think fettuccine. No. Is that the sauce? I don't even know. All right, so when you go to the store and you go in the pasta section, check out all the different varieties of different shapes and sizes of pasta noodles. So don't always just get the same kind. Try to switch it up because it does make the dish taste a little bit different. And let me know about that. And some of them even have actual vegetables. Like some of them are like green noodles. Green noodles which have an added, I guess, vegetable content in there. So that would be healthy for you too. I got a box of that to save for next time. And what else? They have one that are like whole grains, so you can get whole grains. They have some that are ancient grains, which are healthy grains for you also. Just all kinds of different pastas. They even have like egg noodles. So when you go to the store and see the pasta section, just go explore. Don't take it off all the shelf. Just explore the different kinds of noodles there are and try something that you haven't tried before. All right, then right next to that, they had the different sauces. So there are all kinds of jars of sauces, all different kinds. So I got a red tomato sauce, and I told you I usually make my own tomato sauce. So once I make that dish, I will make a video of that and tell you all about how to make that. So good. Now, for the jar, raise your hand if you make your own, well, your parents make their own homemade tomato sauce. Raise your hand if they use the jar. All right, now, raise your hand if sometimes they'll do the jar, sometimes they'll make it. Let me give you some tips if you decide to make your sauce, well, from the jar, okay? Now, when you make your selection, maybe your parents prefer a different brand, but I always like to check the label on the back. And whenever you get anything processed, whether it's in a jar, in a box, in a container, in a pack, make sure that you always check the contents because these are called processed foods, which means they add stuff to it to process it, to keep it safe and fresh for that long so that it can stay in that container that long because you know fresh foods go bad fast, right? So they need to add things to it, not only for the flavor, but also to keep it preserved. Now, the main thing that I do look at when I look at the label is the sodium content. So the sodium content is how much salt there is in there. Some sauces have a lot of sodium content. Some don't have that much sodium content in it. So guess which one I'll go with? The one that doesn't have that much sodium content. Because otherwise, if you're just making the sauce on your own, you add the salt in there. So you know what, when I made this, I didn't even add any salt to it. It had enough sodium content in it that I did not need to add any extra. So I picked out a jar. I'm like, oh, let me try something different. Let me try this flavor. I can't remember what it was. Try this flavor. They have like different kinds of cheeses in there, different kinds of sauces, different kinds of red sauce. So don't always try to get the same thing. Try and explore something new because you never know. It might be so good. Like this turned out to be real good. All right, so next we have our sauce. And the last thing, I went in the frozen section, in the freezer area, and went in the vegetarian section. You already know I don't eat meat. Went in the vegetarian section. I'm like, let me go try to find some meatballs that are not made of meat. And I found a pack. I found a pack of meatballs. It said meatless meatballs. And it had these meatballs. Oh my gosh. Do you see that? It looks just like meatballs. And you know what? These are leftovers because I had some last night and I had to taste these meatballs. And guess what? They taste just like meatballs. Oh my gosh, so crazy. Because they pack, it's I think made out of soy and some other stuff in it. But they did season it, so tastes so good. And I sauteed that with the sauce, let it simmer, which means, so it was frozen. The direction says, put it in the sauce to let it simmer, to heat all the way through. I think vegetarian products are usually already cooked. You just have to warm it up. I think, always read the label. Make sure you always read the label of anything you're preparing. Don't just do whatever, all right? Read the label so you know that you're preparing it properly so you don't get a stomachache and don't get sick from not cooking it right. All right, so I let that simmer in the sauce, let it warm up while I was cooking the noodles. And then when the noodles were done, follow the box to let you know how many minutes it takes for it to get cooked. Sometimes I prefer my noodles al dente, and what that means is a little bit hard, not too soggy and too soft. I like them a little bit hard, and guess what? I cook noodles for such a long time that I don't even time it. I can actually look at the noodles and tell when they're about done. So you can look at the noodles and tell the texture of it to see like, okay, it still looks a little bit hard. It's up. Oh my gosh, I left it in there too long. It got too soggy. So you can look at the noodles and tell. So when you practice, remember, you get better and better. So that's what I've done is, as I all these years practice making noodles, I can tell when I have to take them off the fire. Cut out, hold on, rewind. So put the water, I'll put some salt, you put some oil in the water so they don't stick, have a little bit of flavor, not a lot of salt, okay, not a lot of salt. Have a little bit of flavor in the noodles, put some oil so they don't stick, and then when it's done, dump it out in a little strainer, and then I put it back in the pot, and then put the sauce on it, and I just mix it up, and then I taste it. Then I put it in my plate and then eat it, put it in the bowl and eat it. So guess what? It's time to eat it. So it's time to eat. What I want you to do is in the comments below, let me know, what is your favorite pasta noodle? What favorite shape or size pasta do you like? What kind of sauces do you like? Do you make your own homemade or get it out the jar? Let me know what ingredients you use. Put it in the comments below. Okay, it is time for me to go warm up my food so I can go eat it up. And I'll see you next time. Love you.